How's it going, listeners? Welcome back to Cubold. Today we're talking about the Remedy game Control. And we have a really weird background. It's from Control, but I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, if you don't know, if you haven't played Control, then you probably won't know what that is.
When I first walked in the room, Chug had this going, and it looks very, fleshy. I don't even know. It looks like, I don't know, like an internal camera of somebody or something.
Yeah, it looks like a blood.
Yeah. Which, I don't really know what that's supposed to be, but...
I'm pretty sure it's whenever you die, that pops up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you probably never died. Because you...
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Oh, no, I did die, actually.
Did you?
I have died. Yeah, I fell off.
Oh, and you fell off the cliff.
Hold on, I gotta pull up our notes here.
It's a different day of the week.
Yeah, it's Friday, so it's a little weird.
Oh, it is Friday.
Did you see someone in the chat? Who's that? Star?
San something?
I can't really read that from over here.
yeah,
When
I can't
does it
see it.
start? It's starting now.
Oh, so we've been playing Enshrouded. We started last night, which is a new survival game, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
And Jay has yet to play it.
Yeah, I bought it, and I'm going to play it later.
It's
See how it is.
Only thing we have
so
a gripe
good.
about is optimization.
Yeah,
Mm.
Other than the optimization, everything is just very, fun.
yeah.
I think that's the way Valheim was when we first started playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty
Yeah.
unoptimized, but we still loved the calm building atmosphere.
I'm not sure what do you think? What do you like more? I mean, Valheim is really fun.
You probably have to see the end game, honestly.
Yeah, we'll
have to
really
we'll have to explore more, but from what I've seen, people have been putting 50, 60, 70 hours into the game and in only exploring half the world. The world is huge.
Massive.
Is it
There's so much
procedural?
to do. No, it's not
No.
procedural.
That's cool. Then.
Yeah, it is really cool.
So it's everything's built from the ground up pretty much.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about that next week once we all get a little more time into it.
Yeah, we only played it for a few hours last night, so
Right now, everyone's talking about Pal World.
Yeah.
there's a lot of controversy
get
around
it.
it.
What's the controversy?
I mean, people are thinking, or people that like Pokemon are hating on the game and saying that, I mean, he did mention it the other day, but they're saying that, it's literally Pokemon. They can't do this. They're copying Pokemon. And I'm like, I guess kind of, but there's just so many people getting mad, and also they want Nintendo to step in to stop them from making this game or keeping it going or whatever. But I don't know how. I don't know how they would even do that.
Yeah. I saw that they actually, or the makers of, I guess it's Nintendo, but the makers of Pokemon released an official statement saying we're looking into it.
I was just reading that.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember.
They're investigating it currently. That's pretty much all they've said on it.
Which, I don't know.
I don't know.
The only thing that could get them is there's at least 10 or 15 different creatures in the game that look extremely similar to Pokemon, to specific ones. But how? Pokemon was originally, I was reading something that, what is that one game? Something Quest, Hero Quest. Hero Quest. He was in Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Apparently, Pokemon took a lot of designs from Hero Quest. And so technically, Pokemon isn't entirely unique in themselves either.
Yeah.
So it's
well, here's an interesting take. Nintendo shuts down everybody already.
Mhm.
They shut down people playing old Smash games and stuff. This game would not have gone through if Nintendo couldn't, or if they could have shut it down in some way.
Yeah. They probably already investigated.
I don't think Nintendo has claim on a style of monster.
pretty much.
They're just pocket monsters. That's what that's what the game even means.
I think it's gonna be hard for them to make any official, wherever they're gonna go, whatever they're gonna do. If they're gonna sue them, I think the only reason why they're investigating is because Pal World is so successful now. Otherwise, if it was a flop, who cares?
I keep seeing memes of that one part where in Iron Man, he's like, Tony Stark could build this in a cave. He's yelling at, or it was Nintendo yelling at the company that made Pokemon. They're like, why don't you make something like this that's this successful? It's like, nope.
Wait, right now it had over 2 million players.
Yeah,
Concurrent.
2 million.
That makes it number
The
two.
second.
second biggest aside from PUBG had what 3.5 million.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
3.5
the
million
crazy thing is
crazy.
when PUBG was the biggest, it was only on PC. So
Yeah.
that was only Steam charts that you can see. This game is on Game Pass. It's on Xbox as well.
Probably of all time then.
I was-
if
yeah,
you
I
were-
don't know.
mentioned to
if
JJ
you were to
that
put one all-
PlayStation doesn't do early access games. So Enshrouded's not on PlayStation. I don't think it's on Xbox. I think it's on PC only. But PS5 doesn't do early access.
I bet they're gonna open that up soon at some
Oh,
point.
definitely, probably.
How in the world? Like, it was less yesterday. Like, it was like 1.5 million. Now it's at 2 million.
Yeah, but you see how many
Right
people
now?
are in game right now.
1.2 million right now.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's crazy. Is it really that fun? I mean, like,
I don't know.
do you so when you
You can do
do you
anything.
capture a
You can-
monster like Pokemon, or do you
You
kill
capture them like Pokemon, but you can make them do whatever you want.
No.
Wasn't there a Flash Kids video about that?
Oh,
with
no,
the Pokemon?
Yeah.
That was-
No, you can like I've read that people can like you know how the Pokemon has trainers
yeah.
that also capture other Pokemon. You could fight with them.
Yeah.
You can apparently capture the trainers and butcher them and eat them.
What? Is it gory?
I don't know if it's gory. I
Oh.
haven't really seen much gameplay on it, but
I watched some yesterday, and it's pretty much Ark, but with instead of dinosaurs, it's a Pokemon style.
Oh wow.
So it actually looks really fun, and I'm probably gonna get it.
Is
you
it-
can make them like build your bases for you. You can make them garden for you, like stuff like
Wow.
that. There's a lot of
that actually sounds
really cool
fun.
stuff with it.
Yeah, there's some stuff that looks like it's ripped straight out of Ark, like those towers in the sky,
Mm.
stuff like that. Honestly, for everyone that says Pokemon with guns, I haven't even seen any of the gun combat. I've just seen like flying around the world on like giant creatures and stuff
Apparently
like
there's
that.
a lot of bosses that you
Mm.
kill with the guns. So
Wow.
I don't know. There's
There
a
might-
lot. There's a lot of content in.
That might be something we have to play.
I really do want to, just because it's it's one of those games that's not like the typical. I don't know if it's live service or not, but it's not like a Valorant type shooter that everyone's playing all of a sudden, and you don't really understand why. But this game seems like it's genuinely fun,
Yeah.
and that's why it's getting such popularity. Because when this was announced, I think we made fun of it because it looked
Well,
weird, and then
yeah,
No,
we kinda
we honestly
laughed
said
at
it
it.
looked.
We were
It
like-
looked kind of fun.
Well,
we
we were
said, "What is
confused."
this?" And
Yeah.
then they like pulled out guns.
Yeah,
and
the
we thought
gun.
it was funny.
Yeah, the gun part really sold it for us.
Yeah.
Last of Us 2 adds roguelike mode.
Which the
remaster?
no return mode is actually really fun in Last of Us.
And you can
2.
actually play as Joel for longer.
Yeah. You can play as Joel. You can play as 10 characters, I think. You play as Joel, Ellie, Abby, a bunch of the side characters. You can
Hmm.
play as Tommy,
Mm.
and each one has a different like they're good at different things. Like Tommy automatically starts with like a sniper because he's a really really good sniper. Abby like has like a hammer as a melee weapon, and she starts with like a revolver. Like there's each person has something different, and it like changes up the runs. It's actually pretty sick.
I don't want to spoil that game at all because we're not talking about that today. But I'm so excited for Sierra to get to the part with the sniper.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That was one of the more memorable parts of the games. of
That was
game.
such a turnaround, though. Like, it played with your emotions.
Yeah.
and what is it that towards? I'm not gonna spoil exactly what it was, but towards the end, when you get to the theater as Abby, and
Yeah.
it keeps you playing as Abby. I don't know. That one part is so annoying.
The game does look really good on the remaster.
It does.
It looked good on PS4. So I'd be interested to see what kind of graphics they've updated.
Not much.
but definitely
I've
at
watched
60 frames.
like side by side comparisons.
The 60 frames is a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
I heard people were upset about the remaster for Last of Us 2.
I don't know.
I
haven't
just
seen
heard
it.
that people
Mm.
said it was a cash grab.
People say that it should have been a was the director's cut from Ghost of Tsushima.
Mhm.
So it was on PS4, and then they did a director's cut. They didn't really add much. They just added a 60 FPS mode and a bunch of other options.
I thought they added new,
Well, they added
like-
DLC,
yeah.
but people are saying this should have been Last of Us 2 director's cut
Mm.
instead of Last of Us 2 remastered.
Dude, Ghost of Tsushima is so awesome.
I actually started that.
still
a couple days
haven't-
ago.
It's so
beaten
good. Isn't the
it yet.
combat good?
Yeah, it's
I
really
love
fun.
the navigation system too, where you're
Mhm,
riding on the
mhm.
horse, so then the wind like kind of directs you.
Yeah, I've just
It's
gone
less
through the
Ubisoft, it's
main
super nice.
cutscenes at the start, and I fought the guy.
Oh yeah,
And now I'm like actually sort of in the world. I can run around freely.
that's yeah, that's a really good game. If it ever
Mhm.
comes to PC, I might play it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I've been really liking having the PS5. It's
It's very nice.
I'll
Some of the
probably get
games-
one eventually.
yeah. Some of the games like they're unoptimized on PC, but they're perfect on PS5.
I mean,
Mm.
plus the subscription on PS5
Oh yeah.
is better than Game Pass.
Yeah,
It
you
used
told
to
me that.
be that games are way more expensive on console, but with this subscription now, I can play so many games that I've always wanted to play for like what $10-15 a month.
15, I think.
Yeah.
But that's how much you're paying for the Ultimate for Xbox, anyways.
Yeah, so like
So-
That's crazy.
games are $70 now, but you could buy the subscription and you could play like 4 $70 games in a month. if
And they're
you really wanted
constantly
to.
adding new games. Like the new games for January was evil. Like there was one random one that says Nobody Saves the World or something. I don't even know what that is. And then Evil West and the new Plague Tale.
Oh,
And if you
yeah.
add them to your library, you can keep them permanently as long as you're subscribed.
I'm gonna play the Plague
Really?
Tale.
It's-
What,
at some point.
it's-
what about when you cancel your subscription?
You can't play it.
Oh, okay.
But as long as you're subscribed, you can play the ones that you actually get,
That's
even
the-
if they go off of PlayStation Plus.
That's always been the case. Like we still have games from the PS4 that we got from the monthly.
I beat Counter
Yeah.
Spy.
Oh really?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't very long, but
Yeah.
we had that from years ago at the PS4.
I also beat Bloodborne and Demon Souls, and I
Ugh.
actually
Both are on the subscription.
yeah, and they're so good.
What do you think about Bloodborne's probably the best Souls like?
Best,
Best
Souls?
Or,
Souls like
Best what do you call it?
FromSoft.
FromSoft game.
I don't know. That's a
Or
hard
Dark
one.
Souls 3 is still
I consider Dark Souls 3 my favorite.
the best for me.
What was that flashing?
That was weird.
I don't
Or
know.
nostalgia? Is that nostalgia?
No, not really. I like the style of the bosses and how fast paced the combat is. Like some of the bosses are like the dancer. It's almost like a dance because like you can dodge pretty much as you want.
Yeah.
So like you can get into like a flow of combat much more than other games. Bloodborne I actually found it pretty easy overall. And at one point I got pretty over leveled, so that then it got easy. But the atmosphere was better than Dark Souls, I think.
Yeah.
But I generally like the gameplay better in Dark Souls 3, but like the lore in Bloodborne. And then Demon Souls, I wish they would redo the other Dark Souls games in that style because
Yeah, Demon
What
Souls
about
is
Elden
really
Ring?
good. Elden Ring is amazing.
modern, so you
Top
don't have to
three.
do that.
Top 3. Dark Souls 3. Bloodborne, Elden Ring. Although
Mm.
Same for you.
Bloodborne and Elden Ring are like on the same.
I still have bit to beat.
Actually,
Elden
no.
Ring.
Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, Bloodborne.
I got past
Huh.
the fire giant at least because you helped.
Yeah.
Like I did like Bloodborne a lot or Elden Ring a lot, but I think that's actually lower on my list. Like Dark Souls 2 is probably the worst on there.
You haven't
but-
even played it.
Oh, I played most of it. Yeah.
Oh, you have?
I just didn't like it.
Oh,
I actually want to give Sekiro another shot
you should.
Sakita.
because I almost
I
beat
beat
it.
it 7 times.
I only
I
have
don't
like
know
2
how you do
bosses
that.
left, but it's just
I don't know. I haven't done that in a while.
I don't know. I've been on a Souls like kick recently, and yeah, Demon Souls was really good though. Like there are some quirks like the system that the world
tendency.
changes, but the thing is, you didn't know that going into it, and you warned me.
I did know it a little bit, but I didn't research it because I didn't want to spoil myself on it.
Yeah, I didn't spoil
Mhm.
anything, and it's actually fairly easy. Like you can get guaranteed like white world tendency by beating bosses. Pretty much the only way, except for beating enemy players, and then you get the bad world tendency by killing certain NPCs. There's one major NPC in every world that you kill, and it'll instantly drop your world. And then that's pretty much it. There's like other basic ways, like dying when after you beat a boss and stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, overall that game was really good. Like the combat was, the smoothness of the game was better than any other FromSoft game. But it still had a little bit of jank because it was a really old game originally.
It was a remake though, so it's a little bit different.
There's this one song from the original that people were mad about. You should look it up afterwards. Actually, I might show you after the podcast, but it was the Tower Knight boss. It's that weird MIDI sounding like choir, and it's almost laughing, like the whole boss fight. It sounds really dumb.
Mm.
But people were mad that the new one sounds like more cinematic and stuff because they wanted the old one.
What?
It's one of those nostalgia things. But yeah, that was a really good one too.
Indiana Jones game.
Yeah.
The
That
Indiana Jones game looks really good.
Does look
Yeah.
good.
it's Bethesda.
Wow.
It's by Machine Games.
They did
just-
Wolfenstein.
They did Wolfenstein.
Oh, I love Wolfenstein.
So it's
Wait, did
really
you,
really
you played
cool.
both Wolfenstein games?
I played the first one years ago
Mm.
on, I think it was like Xbox or something. I can't remember.
There's
Oh,
four
so
of
you
them.
haven't played the new ones?
No,
There's 4 of them killed. Did you know that?
I thought there was only 2.
There's Wolfenstein New Order to The Old Blood, which is a prequel to all of them, and then the new one with the co-op, the 2 girls.
No, there's the new Colossus, which is Wolfenstein 2.
That's 2. Yeah.
And then there's the Old Blood, which is another one.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you
I
say
said
that
there's
part.
4 of them in total.
Oh, well, that one's my favorite. Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah, 2 is really good, but the other ones are really good too. The Old Blood was really fun.
I never played
Hmm.
that.
That's the one with the meme with the dudes stabbing each
stabbing?
other. Yeah, that
Oh,
was in
really?
Old Blood.
I thought that was the beginning of Wolfenstein 2.
Nope, that's
Huh.
Old Blood.
But yeah, that definitely looks good. See, Microsoft is laying off 1,900 employees again.
From Blizzard,
Oof.
Ooh,
Activision Blizzard. So
yikes.
So wait, is that also Bungie?
Bungie's
don't
not
think Bungie's
part
a
of
part of it.
Activision.
Bungie's separate now.
Wait, I thought separate now.
Wait. No. Bungie is.
I
No.
thought Blizzard owned Destiny 2.
Wait.
They bought it, but I thought they went.
Didn't Bungie sell out to Sony?
We used to get Battle.net.
So Bungie originally was owned by Sony, and then they broke off from Sony.
Yeah.
Sony? I thought they were Halo.
Bungie?
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, that was
That's Destiny.
X. I'm
think
confused.
it's
Bungie
five
is
oh-
Destiny.
Okay. Well, no.
Well,
Bungie is Destiny. Yeah.
no. Isn't Bungie Halo? Too?
It was Halo. Halo 1 and 2 were Bungie.
That's why I'm confused because they were ex Microsoft devs.
Yeah.
They went to Sony, then they broke away from Sony, and
then
now they're-
Activision bought them, and then Xbox bought Activision.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
they just got them
confusing.
back
It is very
eventually.
confu- yeah.
But yeah,
know.
19, almost 2,000 employees that they've laid off.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
There's I don't know.
There's a lot of.
The gaming industry is getting like hit hard.
Even though there are some really good games that just have come out recently.
Well, I think a lot of them have been kind of like the unicorns.
indie titles,
Like,
in small,
Power World.
small companies.
Mm.
Power World, Lethal Company, Enshrouded. Like these aren't massive like gaming development studios.
Mhm.
They're kind of
Usually
small.
there is stuff like that every year though. Like when V Rising came out, that was one of those big hits
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Nowhere near as the
that's
biggest
Activision as a
Power World.
publisher though, isn't it? Or maybe I think of Diablo. Never mind.
That's
that's
Blizzard,
Diablo.
yeah,
Yeah.
for Diablo. Which have you heard about Diablo Season 3 being terrible?
No. Is that why the layoffs happening?
People are even dying, like
What?
just going off the game.
That's crazy.
I thought you said that in the literal sense.
They're
It's so
literally
bad that
dying.
it kills players.
What else we got?
Until Dawn movie.
I did see that. I'm excited for that.
Which
The
is
game
kinda cool.
amazing. Oh, now that you guys have PlayStation, you guys gotta play it.
I have it.
I
yeah.
started it, but Last of Us kind of,
Oh, okay. You should really play it. That's probably my favorite game from that studio.
which is also on the subscription.
Wait, are you playing Last of Us?
Me?
Huh?
Oh, Caleb is.
Yeah.
I am.
Oh,
Sure.
nice. What
Well,
part
I
are
mean,
you at?
every like, or I'm probably not gonna play it for a little bit now because we haven't Shrouded. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm on like Seattle Day 3 as Ellie
Mm.
or something.
Yeah. At least with the PlayStation, it's felt like I just had a burst of really good games out of nowhere.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
And I kind of needed that because on PC I was getting like a little bored of certain stuff. Like of course I still have my PC and I'm excited to play Enshrouded on it. But sometimes like it's nice to change it up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Play it on different consoles.
Speaking of PC or console games, Forbidden West is coming out on PC in March, but I mean that's also on the subscription, so we don't even need
Yeah.
to purchase it on there.
I would definitely play it on
So,
PlayStation.
Subscription?
The
Xbox?
PS subscription.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We
All
had
these
major
games that we're
issues.
talking about is literally on the subscriptions.
Yeah.
When the first one Horizon came out on PC, there were major issues. So much so that you didn't even like finish it for a
No, I
year
stopped playing for months.
because it would crash every other time you
couldn't-
turn the
it
game
was
on.
unplayable
Forbidden
for me.
West. I don't know what I was thinking of, but yeah, that's the dinosaur, right? The
Yeah.
Mac dinosaur?
Yeah,
Okay.
The Mac dinosaur.
Mac.
Big Mac.
Yes.
can jump
You
into
get into
control.
control.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna have to go pee at some point, probably. So I know. I think
We
the
can
last
find a
podcast
bottle
we
around
like,
here.
Ew. Put the mic up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we even start?
General
so, wait, what is the
story?
game?
Yeah. By the way, I played this recently. I just finished it the other night.
I
Yeah,
played
but
this back
it's hard
in
to
2020.
It's hard to describe it because the start of the game, not getting the spoilers, is like completely confusing. Like gives you nothing.
What
to
did you
go
think
on.
about that part?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It got me intrigued.
Mm-hmm. I
that.
like when you're not handed information immediately. Like it throws
Yeah.
you into a world that you don't understand, and you have to figure it out.
Or
Yeah,
one of
so-
those like I was gonna say. I know FromSoft does this, but like I hate those like long video intros. It's like in a world
Oh.
with this. I'm like,
Yeah, but the FromSoft one, it
game.
gets you hyped. The FromSoft ones get you hyped.
Those aren't that bad, but I hate when they do that. It's like what was that really crappy game that the vampire game that we played
Which
with
one?
the crap cutscenes that weren't
Yeah.
even, they did that at the
Redfall.
start where they gave you the story in like one of those
Mhm.
cutscenes.
Yeah, that's so bad.
Yeah, I hated that.
But that was the whole game, though. That wasn't just the.
Yeah, I
beginning.
know.
That was different.
I like-
At least with the FromSoft ones, honestly, I really even pay attention to those because it doesn't mean anything. It's just like
It just shows
I
you the
skipped those,
big
yeah.
bad bosses you're gonna be fighting the entire
Yeah.
game, pretty much.
it's more like generic fantasy stuff. Then after you played the game once, you watch it and then it's actually relevant.
Mm.
At least for me. I know like when Elden Ring came out and stuff, I actually watched the cutscene even though I had zero clue what was
A
happening.
lonesome dung eater. That's all I have to say.
I think I watched the cutscene too.
Yeah, and I watched it and it didn't like make my experience better because I still had to go to YouTube and watch a video on the lore anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
How do we describe this game without?
It's a third person shooter RPG with
Kinda open
powers.
world.
Based on SCP.
I wouldn't
in
even
a
call
way.
it open world.
I'd say inspired.
Or inspired
Not
by
based.
SCP, not based on it. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely inspired by SCP.
Yeah.
It's not really open world because the areas are fairly linear, but they try to not hold your hand with the like where you're supposed to go.
I mean, there are a ton of optional areas that you can go to with
Oh,
the
yeah.
story stuff or the side quests and all that.
Like there's one side quest about feeding the furnace. Like you have to feed it waste.
Oh, that was optional. I did that. I thought it was part of the story.
I thought it was optional.
No, it's probably optional. I don't. Well, no, didn't that was Ahiti or whatever. That guy-
Ati.
Ati. Tahiti. That was Ati's thing, wasn't
Tahiti.
it?
Was that his story?
I thought that was. I don't know.
Oh,
I couldn't tell the difference between main story and side story.
you could just go to the quest section and you see like the main one at the bottom or something.
Oh, I just did whatever was on the top left.
Mm. Yeah, because if you found a side quest, it would put that in the spot instead.
Oh.
So you might have actually done quite a few side quests.
Huh.
You're all Arthur
Well,
Fist now.
yeah, I'm all mad.
What? It didn't take that long to beat it, right?
No, it didn't.
How many hours?
Like 6 to 8, maybe.
Yeah,
The
it
story's
took-
not that long.
It took me
Yeah.
about like 12 or 13 to beat the main story, I think.
But that's with me not really doing any exploration. I mean, there are like files and notes and computer
Mhm.
screen. There's like stuff everywhere that you can read.
I would scan notes, and if I saw like a name I recognized or something, I would read it. But usually, I didn't read a lot of those things. I listened to most audio logs, and I watched like any videos that I saw,
Mhm.
because a lot of the stuff is pretty relevant to the overall universe, and it's very interesting.
So, let's see. So you covered so it's a third party action game. You play as Jesse. I don't even know how to I mean, the game starts with you arriving at this foundation.
Is
What is
the
it called? The
backstory
D-
technically spoilery?
Not really. She talks about stuff really early on. So
Yeah.
basically, her and her brother, as a kid, they witnessed what's essentially an SCP event, and they don't call it SCP. They call it a
Object of power.
AWE,
Or
an
AW.
altered world event.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they witnessed this as a kid, and they were changed by it. I'm gonna be careful about spoilers, but they were changed in some way, and the FBC, the Federal Bureau of Control, which is essentially the SCP Foundation, took her brother, and she managed to get away. So she goes looking for her brother, and she finally finds the FBC building, and that's where the game starts off.
Mhm.
I thought they let her go, or they were just keeping an eye
Yeah,
on
she got
her.
away.
She got
That's
away.
what it's described as. It's her getting
And
away.
then they were keeping tabs on her.
Yeah, they
Oh.
probably could have gotten her. But the FBC is such an interesting like it's an interesting foundation because it is like the SCP, but kind of like it's different. And what I found really interesting is when you're going around the what they call the oldest house,
Yeah.
the area where they're kind of headquartered. I mean, you can explore the whole, pretty much the whole building, and you, like I said, you can read all those file notes. You can see these anomalies and like read about them, and it's just so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's tons of containment cells with lots of creatures everywhere, and I think it's cool to see because we were saying this before the podcast, but in some ways they almost do SCP better than most SCPs single player games, at least.
Definitely,
Like
yeah.
when you have a game like SCP Secret Lab that's multiplayer, that's completely different because that's player based. But
secret files.
usually what SCP games do is like they take an existing SCP story and try to like throw you into the world and like explain things based on the story that's been set. This game doesn't have any of that stuff to work with, so they made up their own versions of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't really know of anything they directly copied.
No, there were a few like similarities between the entities. Something I find something that I like about this and what makes me so excited for the second game is that with SCP, it's like you said, like the single player SCP games haven't been that great, honestly. Like we've played more than a few. But with this one, it's almost like it's a controlled story. But with the SCP, it's community, so they pick and choose like these community-made SCPs.
Mm-hmm.
But with this one, it's almost like the main storyline. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's like the
There's
SCP
one
is kind of
path,
messy.
pretty much.
What's even better about it is most of the stuff is side stuff. Like you can go through the main story and not even look at any of that stuff, and it would be a different game.
Yeah.
But you can go and look at these cells and see the creatures and read about them and all those things. And it's just like this exists in the world. And even though it's not like the main focus of what you're doing currently.
It's like a very, very well curated SCP game that's not SCP. It's not messy. It's like it's very good.
And you mentioned before that there's not there's some similarities between entities, but I feel like there's so many SCPs. There's like thousands of SCPs.
Yeah, anything would be similar.
There's at least a couple that are going to be similar.
Yeah.
I loved some of the callbacks in Alan Wake 2. Like certain things are just named in a way that you know it's referring to a control or something like that.
Alan Wake 2? I haven't played that yet.
Yeah, I know. But they make a lot of callbacks to control. And I'll have to see like which ones you catch because it'd be fun to talk about those. But the cool thing about this game is it's not just like a game where you walk around and see cool entities or creatures. It's a full third-person action game with really unique combat.
Yeah, I'm trying to like find a way that we can talk about the game as much as we can without getting into like the more interesting parts of it. But the combat is definitely like probably one of the best components of the game.
Yeah, you get a revolver you start with, and this revolver in itself is, what is it technically? Like
I think it's an anomaly.
It's
itself,
it is. It's a weapon that shifts.
I felt like it would have been really interesting to go into other
dimensions.
Yeah, I was gonna say dimensions.
If you want to do that, play the DLC.
Yeah, well, you're in the foundation, so it's like this, this office concrete building place. But they did a good job at like making all the areas really cool. Like there was it's so hard not to say anything. That's spoiler, but yeah, they do give you a big variety of areas to explore, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about like the destruction environment.
Oh yeah, that was really cool too.
Most stuff is destructible in the game. Like if you see a desk, you have this like telekinesis melee thing where you like throw your hand forward, and then there's a small area that I don't even know what you'd call it, like explodes or whatever.
Yeah, you can also pull pieces off of like concrete pillars and stuff.
Yeah,
and you can shoot. It's like
use it as a shield.
Yeah, you can use it as a shield, or you can even shoot it. A lot of things are fully destructible. Like those pillars, you can just shoot pieces off, and then
you can dash through walls, which that was one of my favorite things to do. Like there's a wall there and there's an enemy, you just dash through it, and the entire wall and glass and papers go flying everywhere.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, I was playing around with destruction a lot. The dash?
Yeah. No, well, I know about the dash, but you can do. I didn't know you can do that through a wall. It's cool.
Well, if you ever see, usually there's like windows on the wall nearby. You can dash through that.
wow.
If it's just like a concrete wall, not usually. There's a couple points where you can.
When I was playing the game, I don't know. I feel like did this game get kind of snubbed on like popularity or something? Like why
a
wasn't
little
it?
bit.
So Remedy games are very niche because they do things differently. They take a lot of risks in their games, and because of that, their fan base is generally smaller. I know someone from our chat started playing it and they were bored, so they didn't like it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Control. They play Control.
which,
Alan Wake 1, yeah, 100%. I can believe that because I was struggling
yeah,
to get through it.
that's very different. That's old, and
Yeah,
it's really hard to get into some old games just
it's
because
the introduction to the universe.
Yeah. But Alan Wake 2 was a lot more popular than any other Remedy game, pretty much. Maybe Max Payne was more popular back years ago, but definitely Alan Wake 2 is their biggest yet.
I mean, Control was decently big. back
Did it
when
win
came out.
anything?
It came out the same year as another game, didn't it?
It came out in 2019, and I think Sekiro came out in 2019.
Sekiro.
So I think Sekiro snubbed it.
Huh.
Which I mean, I don't blame them.
What?
Sekiro's
There's a lot of side characters that are super important to the overall story as well. Like you saw Ati.
Ati.
He's a big character.
It matters a steak.
He's really cool. Yeah, and then there was there's the only other character I can think of. Oh, two of them. There's Emily. She was kind of a boring character. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, she was just kind of like generic
I'm
corporate.
trying to think of
person.
other characters that aren't spoiler.
Well, there's her brother.
Well, yeah.
There's Dr. Darling,
Oh yeah, he's.
We had
cool.
that on the list.
That's cool.
But you don't meet him in person.
played by
Ever.
the actor who plays the voice of Alan Wake.
Yeah.
Because Alan Wake is two different
Yeah.
actors.
Which
Voice
is kind
actor
of
and
crazy,
motion actor.
actually.
Yeah, I know.
Like playing through Alan Wake 2, it's kind of crazy.
I wonder why they.
Because he's supposed to be American, and the actor who plays the face of Alan Wake is Finnish.
Oh.
So he talks with a Finnish accent.
Oh, okay.
The whole company is in Finland.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like Sam Lake. I don't know if he had any Sam Lake references in that game. But he's usually in those games a lot. You'll see in Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, the characters were really cool. You know, something else that just came into mind was something else that's similar to the SCP games is I love how when you're reading a file report, there's the redacted stuff that leaves off it intentionally leaves off like details to keep you wondering what it said.
That was really good because like you don't know if it's something that you'll learn later or if it's something that they haven't actually figured out yet.
Yeah.
The cool thing is Remedy has these planned out a lot. It's not just like per game. There's a video where Sam Lake was going around his studio and he's like, this is the screenplay for Alan Wake 2. And it was a stack of papers like 5 feet high.
Wow.
Because they plan these things out so meticulously and purposely leave out specific information to keep you like wondering what's happening. And they'll reveal it at a later time. It's why
That's crazy.
It's why I'm such a big fan of their work now, because they obviously really care about creating something that they love and that other people will enjoy.
That's like it's like it's like the most obvious contrast between Remedy and someone like what do you call it? Activision for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like their story, book thing probably would have been like this big. Cause it was like a 3-hour campaign.
Ugh.
Yeah. Actually, still about Alan Wake 2, but they started it like 13 years ago or something, or at least planning it.
Alan Wake 2?
Yeah.
And then they were trying to get funding, and eventually Epic gave them the funding back in 2019, I think it was. And so that's when they started official development on the game. So really, that's an Epic funded game.
That's why it's never coming to Steam.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not? I thought it was a timed
it's an Epic
exclusive.
exclusive. Like that's not timed.
That's a game that I don't even mind playing on Epic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Remedy is not an exclusive, I don't think. Or not Remedy, Control. Control
yeah.
is not.
I'm excited for they're making another one, aren't they? Or they're
Yeah,
been
that's the next game.
I'm actually curious if there's a release date. I don't think there's even an estimate.
No, I think they're working on it now. So it probably won't be done for at least 3 or 4 years.
Let's see. What else? Is there so many things on here that I'm like I can't talk about because the enemies. I don't know. I feel like that's one thing is like the enemies wasn't a huge variety of enemies. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you know the story, but
Yeah, I wasn't also really a fan. To me, it was another one of those faceless like beings or something.
the root.
Yeah, it felt very much like the root, but I knew the overall thing was more interesting than that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a bunch of like tree people that want to be evil.
One thing
Yeah.
that I kind of wish they did, and I understand why they didn't, and hopefully they explore this in the second game, is you're in this facility with all these anomalies and creatures. Like, how cool would it have been if you had to like fight them? And they're all different. Like, there could have been like a peanut type one where you have to figure out as you're fighting it, like, okay, what am I gonna do here? Well, I guess you would just stare at it, but you know what I mean.
One of my favorite things about like the SCP correlation is they actually show what they do with the SCPs after they capture them. Like they had wings of the building dedicated to studying specific really powerful objects of power. And like there were giant rooms for testing, and you saw like the results of their experiments and stuff like that. SCP, they're usually the way they usually do it is we sent Class D personnel into there and he didn't return, and that's pretty much like the
Yeah.
extent of like their experiments they run on it. This you actually see like a lot of stuff. You see videos of them experimenting on things. People are like theorizing, and they have whiteboards full of like different things about it. They put detail into pretty much everything. Like just a little whiteboard in the corner is unique. You know, it's like other games don't think to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because they think it's unimportant.
I think SCP has the cop out of like our only method of experimentation is sending a D class to the chamber, because it's like I mean, it's a community driven thing, but you know, Control is just so much more. Well, I don't want to say more interesting, but it's so much more.
It's non-community
refined.
controlled. It's like
It's
people sit around a desk and think.
Yeah,
about these
but also
things.
Remedy is so meticulous about building the stories. Every single, I bet they have like documents on every single anomaly and stuff like that.
Probably.
Like they're probably so particular about their story and the things that are within it.
Yeah, and that's really good storytelling, and the overall like no spoilers part of the story is there's not really like a major resolution in the game because there's going to be multiple games.
Yeah.
And I think they said that they want to make trilogies. So they want to make an Alan Wake 3 and a Control 3 once they make Control 2.
That's crazy.
So I think what it would be would be Control 2 next, Alan Wake 3, and then Control 3. So that would be a while from now.
That's gonna be crazy. We're gonna be like really old when
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know. You guys want to talk about optimization stuff?
Well, I just threw that in there just to.
Optimization.
We don't have to talk about
it.
it.
It was very optimized.
Yeah, very optimized.
Yeah,
it looked good.
very
I played it
nice.
on ultra settings on Steam Deck once just to test it, and it ran like I was able to run it like a solid 30.
Wow,
But like I was constantly like maxing out my monitors refresh rate on my PC.
that's crazy.
It was really well optimized. There were even times where I turned on ray tracing and it was still getting over 100 frames.
I love the colors of the game.
Yeah,
Like very red, very bright colors.
You know what I loved was the title cards. Like it's a new
Yeah,
chapter
that
and
was
they
cool.
show this giant title on screen, and it's just different than other games.
yeah, I did like that a lot.
Mhm.
It's their own style. Like
Yeah,
there's the motel you go to a bunch of times, which there's a lot of story about that.
Is that well? We can talk about that in the spoiler.
Yeah, but it's so interesting. Like the things they have you do in the game don't make a lot of sense, but by the end they might make more sense. Sometimes they don't,
Yeah,
and are explained in like the next game or something.
there was something that you said about. Someone said something. I was gonna bounce off that idea.
There was the one musical sequence,
Dancing.
Ashtray,
Oh,
The ash.
the maze.
Ashtray Maze.
Oh, that was awesome. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
That was so cool.
So good.
That was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a video game. We could talk about it. Well,
They had
Yeah,
the
probably later,
old
'cause-
gods of Asgard.
yeah, that was cool. I like how they tie in all like the whole universe as a whole, tie in things from Alan Wake, and
Mhm.
I'm assuming in Alan Wake 2 there's a lot of ties from Control, which I know
Oh,
you said
yeah.
there was-
Oh, yeah.
Way more.
So I'm excited to see that.
It's just cool to see it's not even really a series, it's more just a universe, but it gets so much better each version of it because they know what works and what doesn't, and they improve on that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm so much more involved and interested now than when I played just Alan Wake. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Wasn't Control like the first game they like featured for ray tracing or something?
It was one of those demos.
Yeah, one of them.
I remember seeing
it was an early implementation. It looked okay with ray tracing.
I think the first game that ever came out with ray tracing was Battlefield 5.
That was definitely one of those big ones.
I think Battlefield 5 was the first one.
It's weird thinking back on remembering seeing those like ray tracing trailers and seeing Control, not knowing anything about it, and now that I play it, I'm like, what in the world? Like, I don't know, it's weird. You know, it's like before you watch a show and you have like this assumption of what it's going to be about, and then when you watch it, it's like completely different.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was surprised that I wish I had played it sooner. But I know like the title Alan Wake is very generic, and it's one of those games like I never thought would seem interesting just because it's some dude's name. Like I don't know anything about
Wake
him.
up.
Control, I was always sort of interested in, but I didn't really know what type of game it was.
Yeah.
So like there was nothing driving me to play it until I knew it was in the same universe. And that's when it got more
Control
interesting.
Came out before I even knew what SCP was.
Yeah,
2019.
Same. Oh,
because we played. I mean, I found out about SCP in 2020 when we played Secret Lab.
oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it before. And then it's like what everyone goes through when they find out about SCP. You go on that like YouTube rampage where you just watch like all videos about SCP that you can.
Yeah.
I think I played Control in 2020, and I didn't know anything about On Wake. I didn't know anything about Remedy.
Oh, you played
titles.
that one first.
Control was my first Remedy game.
For a lot of people, it was because it's one of the more modern ones.
Yeah.
There's also Quantum Break,
which I played that after, but I never beat it.
Does Quantum Break have ties with Control and?
It has ties with Alan Wake 2. I think we talked about it last week.
No, I know.
There are many characters who are either the same actor with a different name, or a different actor playing a similar character with a different name.
Yeah. I meant like, does Quantum Break in that game have references to Alan Wake 1?
No.
Yes, it does.
Wait, it does?
Yeah, there's literally a whole sequence where it's like...
Oh, I never beat it, so I don't
Does it
know.
have references to Control? Or did it came out before Control?
Quantum Break came out in 2013.
Oh, okay.
Was it really that old?
Or was it
Are you
2015?
serious? There's no way.
No.
It looks pretty decent.
Yeah,
I thought it was like 2013 or 2015.
2015 is more like it.
2016.
I thought I saw
Wait, really?
a thing on YouTube where there's a section where you see Alan Wake writing, or maybe he's narrating an Alex Casey movie or something like that.
Oh.
But it was an Alan Wake reference.
Huh.
Which actually they took a lot of what they had in that movie and put it in Alan Wake 2. You could see a lot of comparisons. But yeah, that one's weird because it's a Microsoft owned property, and
I don't know if I didn't like the way they were telling the story. Like you play like 30 minutes of the game, then you watch a 30-minute part of the movie. Then you play 30 more minutes of the game, then you watch another 30-minute movie. And it's like,
from what I've seen of the story though, it seems pretty interesting, and it has Lance Riddick in there.
yeah.
Which I really like him as an actor. He actually died a year or two ago.
The main
like
guy?
No. You know